Hi guys, welcome back to the Drive Life channel. In today's video I'm going to be talking about why or how owning and driving an old Volvo has changed my perspective on cars. Now you're going to have to excuse my arm. You may notice I've got a few red blotches on it, and I was attacked by midges the other day when I was filming the Jeep video, and I still haven't recovered. So I just thought I'd take you guys on a little town or city driving. We're in the centre of Hereford at the moment. I just thought, yeah, we go for a little drive and I'd talk about how my thoughts towards car ownership and what a car should give me have changed since owning this car, which was obviously the cheapest Volvo S80 in the UK at the time, at just £1,500 from the auction. So let's get into it. So the biggest thing for me, well, before I owned this car, I was very much a performance car person. I was obsessed with 0 to 60 times, handling, things like that. And although I only owned a BMW 120D M Sport, I cared a lot about the performance of my car. I cared about how it looked. I cared about sort of the status that goes with BMW and things like that. Rightly or wrongly, I was 20 when I bought that car, and it's, yeah, since then my opinions on cars have changed, and that was literally from when I bought this Volvo. Now, for those of you who don't remember the story, I bought this car after the BMW was written off in an accident, and I bought it in auction. I only had one working leg after the accident, temporarily. It hasn't permanently been damaged, and yeah, this car was sort of it was a impulsive buy. It was very cheap. It had some crash damage on the front of it, and just was a bit of a project, and it was the cheapest car I'd ever bought. Up until then, I'd spent at least £5,000 on every car that I bought, and going down to £1,500 changed attitudes a bit. So what I've realised is that for a car that you drive every day, you want to be totally comfortable, and when it comes down to comfort, there's no brand that really beats it, or no brand that can really be beaten for comfort other than Volvo. BMW just wasn't as comfortable. I'm quite a large frame person, for those of you that know me or have seen me, so to have these nice big squishy seats is absolutely wonderful. Now, I've also sort of ditched my opinions on how a car should handle, and how a car will benefit from big wheels and hard, stiff suspension. You just don't need it on a road. You can't explore the benefits of having stiff suspension and low profile tyres on public roads. You just can't do it. There isn't enough space, there isn't enough opportunities to do that. It's just very restricted into what you can use, and what you get then is that need to try and push the car, which creates more dangerous situations. That's why so many young people crash sports cars, is because they feel the need to try and test the limits of the car, and they don't do it in something safe, or a safe environment such as a track. And I think there should definitely be a sort of facility available where people can go and practice the limits of the car, so they can understand that if they go into a bend at 60 miles an hour, they probably won't come out the other side if they're tearing in way quicker than they should be. So that was another thing that has surprised me, is how going from quite stiffly sprung 1 Series with big tyres that I thought aided performance, actually has been quite a refreshing change going to a big wallowy saloon car with 17-inch tyres. Yeah, you just sort of, I've realised how ridiculous a lot of the cars that people buy now are, especially these big SUVs. An Audi Q7 with 22-inch wheels is now available with. As soon as you hit a pothole, that tyre's gone. That's sort of £500 on a tyre. I saw the other day, and you just think that's just absolutely outrageous. You don't need to be spending that if you don't have to, especially if you're driving the car every day. Now, if you're buying a GT3 RS to only drive at the weekend or drive on track, then obviously it makes a bit more sense. It's a bit of it's an occasion, it's an opportunity to really enjoy a car, whereas on your daily driver there's just no point whatsoever. Obviously, with the car being worth a lot less, I don't have that same concern financially about it. If something goes wrong with it, I can replace it, or I can buy a different car, because I know that you can get cars of this quality at such a low price. And what you find with it is that you no longer worry about the paintwork, you no longer worry about parking it in a car park, you no longer worry about it in general, really. Now, that's not to say that I totally neglect this car. I like to keep it clean. I would obviously be annoyed if there was a big scratch down the side of it, but it's not at the forefront of your mind all the time. Now, this was especially prevalent when I had my Mazda MX-5. I was always concerned about parking under trees with the mohair roof and things like that, and it became more of a compromise than a sort of positive experience in the end. And I found myself now, I find myself now much more relaxed on a daily basis, and much more relaxed when I drive the car. And that's not because I neglect the car, but just because I enjoy, or I don't have the pressure to keep it quite as perfect, because it's got a few age-related marks. So yeah, it was sort of a few interesting little options. And this is a bloody 5 exit roundabout, so it's quite difficult to get out, because there's about 2 normal exits and then 3 bunched really closely together. But yeah, it has massively changed the way I approach cars. I see cars nowadays as a lot of modern cars anyway are completely unnecessary. I think a lot of people or car manufacturers have lost touch with what petrol heads want. They've massively gone to a buyer's market, really. BMW, I think, are the most guilty of this. They have gone from producing some of the best drivers' cars in sort of the early noughties, even the late noughties, the V8 M3s available in manual, even the F80 M3 to a certain point. Fantastic driver's car. The cars nowadays are just numb and heavy and blobby, and you just get to the point nowadays where you think, well, yeah, there's just no point buying a new car. There is literally no new car that I would really be excited to buy. The only thing that caught my attention the other day was the new DS9 Saloon, which is just beautifully styled, but I wouldn't want to buy one. But it's the only really thing that's interested me recently. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. It's obviously quite a contentious subject, but having driven a Volvo and having owned a Volvo, there's, for me and for what I use it for, commuting 50 miles a day, going on long weekend trips, there's no better car. I come home from work more relaxed than when I left, which is always a good thing, isn't it? And also I arrive at work more relaxed than when I left, because that's just the sort of thing that this car does for you. And ownership costs as well are cheap. Insurance is fairly reasonable on this car. I'm 23, I've got 5 years no claims. I've got nearly 6 years no claims, and yeah, it's an absolute joy to drive, because the running costs are good, and yeah, it's just I think my perspectives have changed a lot, and I've learned to appreciate different cars. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if this was something that you found when you bought a Volvo. If you prefer an older Volvo or a newer Volvo, what is it about it that keeps you going back to it, and did it change the way that you view cars as a whole? So yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.